That?
We are.
Tell me when. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the Legislative Rules and Governmental Operations Committee. Today is January 30th, 2025. The time is 9:30 a.m. And first thing on our agenda is approval of the minutes of November 22nd. Motion made by to approve as submitted by Supervisor Conover, seconded by Supervisor Wild. All those, any amending or offering of amendings? I hear none, so therefore let's put it to a vote. All those in favor of the minutes presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? All right, passes unanimously. Next is privilege of the floor. Is there anybody non-committee or public that wishes to speak at this time? Seeing none, I'll move on to the action agenda items, which are, for the most part, Board of Elections. And we have Commissioners McLaughlin and Van Ness present. So we have the first item, which is to appropriate funds from A909.00 in the amount of $60,000 due to congressional special election. I think we're all familiar with that, and we know that there is extra costs with that, but should Commissioners McLaughlin or Van Ness wish to say more at this time?
Sure thing. So we are asking for some additional funds in our overtime and our part-time. We did go over last year with our 3 elections in those 2 items. And then the miscellaneous is 50,000 just for rundown. Quickly, 28,600 would be the cost for inspectors for election day and early voting. Delivery trucks, 3,000, absentee ballots, 2,600, emergency ballots, 2,100, ads, 1,000. We have to do a special mailing to let all voters know that the special election, when it is. So that's a cost there. Plus the postage for absentees and the mailing for those notices to all voters.
It's basically a full rollout election. It's a congressional special election is what it's going to be, which depending on what happens there, and we hate to throw this at you, but it may lead into a 4th one later on in the year. We don't know where it's going to go, but at this point in time, we know for a fact that we have the congressional special, and it's basically a full rollout election for every polling location and the 10 days early voting. We tried to break it down for you the best we could on what it costs us to do a full rollout election, and the $60,000 is the closest we can come to saying that that's what it's going to cost the county to run a special election.
Yeah, motion brought to the floor by Supervisor Thomas, seconded by Supervisor Conover. Any discussion? Supervisor Thomas.
Thank you. I see on the following items, we're rolling over about $132,000.
In grants,
Any
correct.
way that money can be used to fund this election?
No,
We can't, some of that money was used, actually is being used for the prior election for the absentee count and stuff, but there's no way that we can use this to run in. It's an those grants are equipment grants or the postage, the vote by mail grant is very strict on what we can use that for. It's basically mailing or equipment. If we need assistance for people to come in and absentee, we could use that, and that's what we did in one of these grants. We needed assistance the last one to count absentees and do our audit, and in that grant we've already claimed for the previous election.
just go tomorrow.
So it's specifically for what?
Basically equipment, yeah. And if there's more grants that we don't know, depends if there's more grants that's come out. It's something that we always take a look at. Can we get from the treasurer's office, can you give us what we paid out for extra help? And we claim that on grants as they come along. So we do try to take care of it with grants if we can, but there's no possibility, right?
And I see it's kind of that you're proposing to take it out of the 909 fund balance. I think that not contingent. And secondly, I don't think the county should be paying for it. I think the federal government. I don't see why the taxpayers of Warren County have to fund an election. If they didn't, it's not scheduled.
And we, of course, we have no say over that. Again, we're looking at agreed unfunded mandates. I mean, that's what it is. And all we know is that we have a law that we have to follow and then save the county from ending up in legal, being in a legal battle with attorneys and everything else. We just want to make sure, which the county has always, I must say, the county has always been there and backed us up and but we agree with you that there should be more funds coming from the state, especially for a special election.
Yeah, I just don't think that the county should be paying for it.
Yeah. I agree, Frank. Supervisor
Yeah.
Driscoll.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm not debating the merit of early voting, but is that a mandate for all elections that you have to do all the hours and all of the days?
Correct.
That's election law, and even this one, depending if it were to come in on Easter week, we would, what they do is give them Easter off, but they extend the early voting hours 1 hour per day to cover those 9 hours that they lost. So
Wow.
it's election law.
Okay, thanks.
Any further questions from the committee? Okay, let's put it before the committee for a vote. All those in favor of the action item in front of us, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Abstentions? All right, motion passes. All right, items 2, 3, 4, and 5 are carrying over unused grants from 2024. Can we bunch those together? All right, motion to place 2, 3, 4, and 5 action items on the floor. Motion made by Supervisor Conover, seconded by Supervisor Wild.
Mr. Chairman, if I can, as Supervisor Thomas asked about using these grants actually have already been spent. But the problem is until the state gives them to us from the office of the comptroller, approving them and everything else, we have to wait for to claim repayment from them. So they're a grant that we spend first and get repaid after. So these grants that you're seeing here, with the exception of the small one, the $5,795. And again, that's another ballot grant funding that's for absentee ballots, early vote by mail ballots and all that other, but these grants have already been spent. We actually just closed out 2 of them yesterday or the
Yes.
day before to send to the state for repayment. We're in the process of waiting for approval on the 3rd one from the state, and then we can file our claim for payment on those as well.
Any further additions for items 2, 3, 4, and 5? Questions?
Can I just clarify? You said you've already spent the money in the 2024 budget?
Way these grants work is when they're issued to us, the county treasurer, once they're approved by our committee, the county treasurer gives us that money. It goes into a grants account.
Okay,
And then we work on spending that money, even though they're approved. What has to happen is we have to spend the money.
mhm,
We have to follow guidelines of how the money can be spent. We send that down to the state and they approve all of the items that we have purchased. But it has to follow our work order that we.
right, but the money has already been spent, you said, right? So you don't need the money in the
No.
2025 budget, right?
Well,
Well-
the money is in there.
It's
And
in there,
it
we're
hasn't
just
been-
transferring it over. We haven't gotten repaid for it yet.
How does
So-
that-
Okay, but you don't need the funds there because you've already spent them, correct? I'm.
Yes, but those funds that we've spent are grant money
Right,
that they've already given us. So we haven't gotten that money back yet to the treasury.
right. So there's a receipt.
So we don't
out
need to
there.
transfer any money in. We just need to be able to carry these over to show that, you know, that that's where it was spent. That's what our understanding through the treasurer, that we have to carry them over because it's still sitting in there and waiting to be reimbursed,
But not, but it's already been spent.
but not, I'm sorry.
Just to clarify,
Yeah.
if I may.
Yeah, treasurer, recognized treasurer, Norton.
So the county's on a modified accrual basis. So if we get the claims in before April 30th, they will go to.
Treasurer Norton, can you please come to the microphone?
Good morning. Sorry about that. So we're on a modified accrual. So our books for 2024 will be open through 3/31/25. So to the extent we receive we've already spent it, so you're spot on. Accrual accounting, we would recognize them in 24. With the modified accrual accounting, we'll recognize everything that we get back in 2024. And the rest that we don't get back should be a smaller amount, but there are receivables on the books. And when we get them back, it should go to 24. You understand? Is that clear?
So I
Let's
think
look
this is a procedural action that has to take place to maintain the consistency of the grants. Okay.
I'm gonna get back to you specifically on this item, but again, we're on accrued, it'll be accounted for in the right year.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Treasurer Norton.
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Supervisor Wild?
Yes, I don't recall, but did we take money out of the general fund last year for the election?
We budgeted for 3 elections last year.
I don't think we came to you for any money other than we may have did we take money for out of our capital projects for printers? I think we did take, but that was in our capital
Just
projects
For the
reserve.
new machines, we actually did that in March.
But we didn't take any out of the general Supervisor Wild that I'm aware of. We had budgeted for our regular elections.
So just to follow up, what do you have in your contingency account? You know, any idea?
Say-
There's a total-
In our,
Yeah.
in our,
Total counting contingency of about 275.
Oh,
and the only reason we put, okay, I'm sorry, I'm going back to the wrong one. I'm going back to the first one that we already passed at 909. We put it down there to let you and finance decide where the money comes from. That's our suggestion, that's all. But these here, these grants are, just to carry over until we get repayment to the treasurer's office. And they're ready and they've been filed to be repaid.
Additional further questions, additional questioning from any sort? Yes. Treasurer-
One other question, is there a reason this wasn't budgeted for, this special election? And
Yeah,
Was it
because
just
we
a-
didn't know
Yeah, it hasn't even been called yet.
until,
It's gonna happen.
The budget was approved before the election, the
Correct.
general election.
correct,
until
Had zero
we
idea
had until we had a vacancy, we couldn't plan for an election.
but again, we were at the same meeting last night. Tim McNulty was pretty. There's really no election until she actually gets confirmation, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
I
But we
think that-
can't wait. I mean, if there's gonna be a special election, we can't wait until the month before the special election to book our people and get our people ready to go. We're gonna book over 120 inspectors to carry out this election and deliver these machines.
At-
And we just gotta have the money there to be able to. And that's why, but we didn't know this. We knew this election was coming up. We just didn't, well, I shouldn't say we knew it. It depended on who got elected president, whether there'd be a special election at.
But if,
One, it opens a congressional seat.
yeah, but if the money's approved now and then she does not get confirmed, remains in the 21st, and there's no election, then the money just returns back. So.
Correct. Correct. We just have to be prepared for it, that's all.
Okay. Any more questions? All right, let's put action items 2, 3, 4, and 5 to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays, abstentions? All right, 2, 3, 4, and 5 pass. Sixth item is a poll book contract authorized by resolution 48-2024 licensing and support fees for 3 additional poll books, increasing the contract from 12,150 to 12,555, adding 3 additional poll books, giving a total of 93. Anything that you'd like to add?
Just that, we needed 3 additional poll books and we bought them off one of these grants. Actually, we bought 93 off from one of the poll book grants, so it came out of a grant to buy, but we needed 3 additional poll books. And these 3 additional poll books have to be covered in the service and licensing and the contract through 10X poll books. And this is just the additional cost for those additional 3. We have the money in our account. We're not asking for any money. We're just asking for the ability to amend the contract to add these 3 additional poll books.
Okay, let's bring action item number 6 to the floor. Motion made by Supervisor Conover, seconded by Supervisor Mayday. Any further questions, thoughts? Let's put it to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Passes unanimously. Last item, item number 7. Donate an old poll book iPad to a nonprofit organization. No longer of any use with limited shelf life. Any further thoughts on that one?
These are the 90 poll books that we've just purchased on the new ones because their life expectancy of the old ones, the poll books we had, is no longer any good. Some of the batteries are going bad on them and stuff like this. So these are the 90 that we had originally that we bought 5 years ago, and their shelf life is over. But there are some of them that are still active, some of them that still work. We checked with the state. We can wipe all the information clean off from them and clean them totally out. And our thought is to donate them to nonprofit organizations or such. We've already had one contact through public health here at the county. They have a special needs program where they'd like to get 10 of these poll books that they can put their programs in to help with artwork and stuff like this with children with special needs. But our thought is if there's nonprofit organizations, we'd like to donate them out to the nonprofit organizations. And that's the way that the state has advised us that would have to go because they were originally bought with grants. Their grant life expired at 5 years. They're ready to, they're no good to us. We can't put them in the field and have a battery die in the field. So we've got the new ones.
Motion to bring to the floor, Supervisor Driscoll, second. Supervisor Mayday. Any? Yes.
If I could just subject to legal review, I believe the county purchasing policy and state law may have some restrictions on how we donate. We would need board approval to donate, but just subject to legal review on the methodology. We may not be able to pick and choose not-for-profits that we want to give these to.
Okay.
But I'll tie that up with the elections commissioners before the board meeting in February.
Yes, Supervisor Driscoll.
Thank you, Chairman. Who is responsible for cleaning up the books? I think for transparency, I think we should know that.
Contacted IT department.
Okay, so IT would do it.
Yep, IT is going to wipe them for us. And as well as, like we said, they're ready. They have no value. We've checked with Julie, and there is really no cash value to putting them on eBay or anything. All they are is a 5-year-old iPad is basically what they are.
But no apps, there's.
No apps, right?
Any further questions, thoughts? Okay, let's put action item number 7 to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion passes. Discussion items, none. Referrals, pending items, none. Privilege of the floor. Any non-committee member or committee member?
Yeah, to get back to item one. I would like this committee to recommend that the chairman of the board or board itself. Submits a letter or request to Representative Stefanik and President Trump, the White House, that we would like $60,000 to pay for this election.
50 or 60?
60.
Yeah. All right, we have an idea to submit a letter to the president and Congresswoman Stefanik requesting that the federal government pay for this special election. Is there support for such letter among committee members? Let's discuss. Any discussion?
I'll second the,
All right, motion made by Supervisor Thomas, seconded by Supervisor Driscoll to submit a letter to the federal government asking them to fund this congressional special election. Any further thoughts?
This would be the ask,
Supervisor Conover?
this would be to ask the chairman to send such a letter.
That would work, I
In
think.
other words, this
Is that
is
okay?
not something that would go to the full board. This would be something that we would basically be asking the chairman to send a letter,
Okay.
asking for help with the election,
Or request. Yep.
a request. I think it was in that
Okay.
form. I could support it.
Okay,
County's not made of money. Another $60,000, another $60,000. Pretty soon we're gonna start running out of $60,000.
I agree. All right. Let's put it to a vote. All those in favor of the submittal of this letter as described, please signify by saying aye.
aye,
Any nays? Abstentions? Passes. Okay. Any other items for discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Non-committee, public,
if I may,
sure.
this will most likely be my last meeting that I'll attend with this committee and with the county board. I will be retiring, and there'll be an email sent shortly. I will be retiring February 20th. Last night, the Republican committee unanimously endorsed my deputy, Harry Hubbard, who has done a fantastic job. This county won't miss a beat. With Harry coming in, and his intent is to bring up Caroline, the staffer that's with us, as his deputy. I feel very comfortable in all the work that we've done in bringing us into this century with the help of the county board and the assistance of getting the equipment that this office needs now. I feel very comfortable walking away and turning the reins over. So I appreciate everything that this committee has done. I appreciate everything that the Board of Supervisors has done. And I thank you.
Yeah, we thank you to Commissioner Van Ness. My point of view, I think you've done an outstanding job. And and if Harry Hubbard selected by the Board of Supervisors, I think he'll do a fine job.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts, questions from committee members, non-committee members, public, anybody? All right, seeing none, how about a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Supervisor Conover, seconded by Supervisor Mayday. You moved your hand.
did. It worked.
All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.